Okay, so I have finished this little space here that's going to hold the weight of the axe. There we go. Again, glue is your friend. I glued the pieces together first and then sewed it. You can see it's just a basting stitch. On the inside, I weaved the ends of the thread of the lace into each other. I don't know if you can see that really well. So that there's no knot. And then again, I glued the edges to make sure that they stay there and that the laces don't come undone. With a knot, it's gonna leave a little bump there and the axe might not sit on that space the way it's supposed to, so I didn't want a knot there. The next part is the scary part, putting in the snap. And it scares me because it's a one-time deal, and if I mess it up, the whole project is pretty much scrapped. I want it to lay a particular way when it's closed, so the snap has to be in exactly the right spot, or else, you know, it'll sit, you know, like this or like this. It's not going to match up the right way. So where I put the snap is going to be important. So before I measure it and plan it all out, I will put the axe inside the sheath, because the thickness of the blade is going to make a difference as to how this lays. You know, there's nothing in there right now, so this looks great. But when the axe is in there, it might not. So I'll put the axe in and do some measurements, and we'll see how it turns out. Okay, so placing the snaps. Again, this is critical piece, and this is a make or break for this project. So I have the axe inside the sheath. I closed it up the way I want it to lay. You know, I want it tight, but not really tight, you know, just to close it. Then, this is the pattern that I used for the design for the medallion. And I cut the extra paper to the same size as the medallion. So this is pretty close to the same size as the medallion. It maybe it's not exactly quite the right shape. And then I put it where I wanted it to go. Now again, if there was no medallion, I'd put the snap, you know, down here. But since I have this pretty piece of quill work I want to put on here, I need to make sure there's room. So I'll have decorative lacing along this side. That's going to, you know, match up with this. So it's going to be about that far. I'll have a little bit of lacing on the bottom, and I need some space to sew this actually on. So I need some space for that lacing. So I put it about where I want it. Actually, I put it exactly where I want it. And then I just took my awl and made a hole, just a small hole through the leather, making sure I go all the way through to the axe blade. This will give me my point for punching a hole to put the snaps in, so that if the snaps are lined up in the right spot, this is how the piece will lay. So now I will punch the holes. Okay, the snap is on. And pretty happy with how it turned out. It lines up nicely here. As the piece ages, this, you know, this will start to come down some. And when it's actually standing up, you know, this won't be quite so flappy, but I really like how it looks. Also the weight of the lace when I finish the lacing underneath here. Yeah, but it lines up good. Pretty happy with that. And now it's functional. The rest of it is just decorative. So this is an axe sheath. I'll finish up the detail work and the embellishments and things, and I'll be back. Okay, so the snap is done. I started putting the medallion on there, and I had to cut the quills a little bit more and ended up cutting some of the beading string, so that I repaired that and it's drying right now. So in the meantime, I cut the holes for the decorative lacing along the edge. So this is the part that will come down like this. So I cut all the holes for this lacing. So now I will lace that up just like I did here using that double lace stitch. I like the way it looks. It's got kind of a braided edge, and I like the way that looks. So I will start working on that. Okay, so I finished the decorative stitching, that double lace stitch on the edge, and I'm pretty happy with the way that it looks. I don't know, I might do this decorative stitch all the way around, like all the way around the back and here and this part. I'm not sure yet. But now I want to put on the medallion, affix the medallion, and you know, every project has things that you just kind of work on as you go and learn as you go. So with the quill work, you know, it has a texture to it. It's, you know, has a little bit of a raised area there. So I need to figure out a way to get it flat over the snap, because the whole idea is that it's covering the snap. I don't have quite enough material. It's going to be a tight fit. I mean, there's enough material there to get all the way around, but I don't know if I have enough to actually use my glue. So I might have to actually just do a little based stitch on the corners to hold it in place while I'm stitching it on there. But I think it's turning out pretty good. Yeah, so I'll start working on that and see how it goes. Okay, so I've basted the applique on here. I just did a few stitches around the edge to hold it together. After it's on here with the lacing, I'll take these white stitches out. It's just to hold it there while I'm sewing. So this is what it will look like finished. Cool. Okay, so I have finished the medallion. While I was working on this, I thought quite a bit about how to sew on the medallion with a stitch that would be kind of decorative. I drew out some different designs, trying to find something that I was happy with. And I decided to try and do this this double lace stitch that we did on the edge in an applique fashion. And I think it turned out pretty good. It took a little bit of work to figure it out, to deconstruct it, because it's designed to do two pieces of leather like this, and not a flat applique. But I deconstructed the stitch and figured that out. And I just put some glue on the back to hold the end of the stitches. I'm going to let that dry before I close it up. And I think we're done, at least for now. I might come back, as I said, and do the decorative stitching across the top. I might do something on the back, maybe burn my name into it or engrave it or something. I'm not sure yet. But the main part of it's all finished. So when this dries, I'll put the axe in it and we'll do one last look. Okay, so here is our finished sheath with the medallion attached. All the glue is dried. I think it turned out pretty well. As I said, I might add some more stitching just for decoration. I'm not sure. I don't want it to be too busy. I hope you learned something along with me and it was helpful. One tip I wanted to give you about finding leather, purchasing good leather for good projects, you know, for important projects, is good. But sometimes you just need a little something, or you have a small project, a piece of something else, where you just need a small scrap of leather or something that's not really super great quality. For those pieces, I always keep an eye out at secondhand stores and the Goodwill or rummage sales, and find leather jackets and suede jackets and clothing, and will often use that for like lining material or practice. I practice everything before I do it on my actual leather piece. Even these little scraps like this I save. So this I use to test out the dye, to see how the dye would work with the quills. I use it for seeing how the quills would work with the leather. So even these small pieces come in handy because leather is expensive, and the better quality the leather, the more expensive it's going to be. So that's just a little tip if you're interested in continuing leather work. So I hope the video was helpful. There is another video on actually making the medallion. If you're interested, take a look at that one too. Thanks.